The world is complicated beyond our ability to comprehend. Because I've been thinking about how to communicate this properly. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because the world presents itself as a series of puzzles, some of which you're capable of solving and some of which you're not. And you have many puzzles in front of you that you could solve, but you choose not to. Right. You know, those are the things that weigh on your conscience. It's like, you know, well, I should really do this, but you don't. It's like, so I had this idea a long time ago, because the world is a pretty dreadful place. I thought, well, what would the world be like if people stopped avoiding the things they knew they should do? You have to be historically ignorant beyond belief, or malevolent, or resentful beyond comprehension in order to think that that's a good idea. So, and can you even clean up your own room? No. It's not that easy to clean up your room. Well, no, of course not. Like, why do you think this is worthwhile? Who died and made you? God. Well, you should think about that. No. There isn't anything you can do to me that will make me agree to do this. It ends in nothing but catastrophe. You should think about that. Because if you can't even clean up your own room, who the hell are you to give advice to the world? Fine, rights, yeah, got it. How about trying hard to do that for the rest of your life? How do we know you're not a Nazi? You're going to go down that road, are you? First of all, people are going to object to that. You're in a group that also has Nazis in it. Yes, a bit, but also no. It's not that surprising, really. You know, Hitler was one of the great supervillains of the 20th century, right? I mean, there's all sorts of things you don't know. You know, a trillion things. He's up there with Stalin and Mao in the panoply of satanically possessed leaders. I can understand them. You don't just toss that around. Oh yeah, people have an issue with it, but it's like, grow up. They're resentful to the core. Bitter, resentful, terrible. Everyone who's a sophisticated medical professional, psychiatrist, psychologist, everyone knows that. It's like, well, I'm suggesting that people stay away from that resentfulness and bitterness, even though life is hard. It's disconcerting, like it's surreal. I know partly why you're so popular. It's because you're a monster. Just to have a discussion with someone like you know, a heterosexual, what do they call this, cisgendered male of power, you know, and white to boot, it's not pleasant. So there's no neutral position with regards to that. What, do we want to play that game? You don't mess about with epithets like that. It just shows how muddle-headed you are. And then to assimilate me to that category so carelessly, how narcissistic can you get? If I even engage in the dialogue, I'm playing your game, you win. Well, that's just try arguing your way out of that. Well, the thing is, like most things, it's complicated. No, that's part of your oppressive patriarchal game, that idea. That whole idea is part of your game. It's like, is there something wrong with being competitive? There's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong with cheating. There's something wrong with being a tyrant. There's something wrong with winning unfairly. That's what men have been doing with each other forever. And I think that that's wrong. That's a bad way of looking at the world. It doesn't matter. Well, that isn't what we do in the West, let's say. Really? No. Sorry. That's just not deep enough, man. That's ancient wisdom. That's what that is. It's meaningless. It's what are you going to do about it? You can interpret the world any way you want. So that's how we're going to view the world. No problem. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's see what happens. Look. What the hell is going on? How happy are you? How much pain are you in? How healthy are you? How much money do you have? I'm in pain and anxious all the time. That's not so good. It's a downward spiral. Wrong. Develop a vision of what your life could be like if it was worth living, despite all its suffering. It's like, what would you need so that you would be happy to be alive? Who knows? You'd find your life meaningful, so you don't get all bitter and resentful and cruel and hostile and ideologically addled and like murderous and genocidal. It's like none of that. God. The thing is, this has also been discovered in chimpanzees and other primates. Fine. Does that make it less frightening? I don't think so. Okay, that's an understandable sentiment. It's not a pretty picture, man.